bringing our attention to the body can be very powerful. And that's what the body scan really allows us to do. Almost like a reminder to direct our attention to the body. Oftentimes when we feel stressed or anxious or nervous or worried, we tend to mostly be in our thoughts. And oftentimes the body, paying attention to the body can actually be a really good way of, in a way, directing our attention away from our thoughts, in a way, directing our attention away from our thoughts. And so, when we pay attention to our sensations, first of all, we are in that process of directing our attention. So we're watching where we are placing our attention, which, it's sort of the biggest, one of the biggest lessons that some people have is that they don't realize that they can actually place their attention, that they don't realize that they can actually direct their attention, because we've been so accustomed to having our attention sort of be grabbed by everything that's going on around us, that we don't realize that we have this ability to actually pay attention. Oftentimes in the body as well, there's also various practices in the body. For instance, like some people might be, if they pay attention to the body, for instance, they might go to what grabs their attention, especially in people with chronic pain or living with some discomfort, is that body part that is pain, that is having that sensation that is unpleasant, let's say, right? And so that grabs our attention. And with the body scan, it's a very interesting way of also noting, when we pay attention to the body, where does our attention go? Sometimes when we pay attention to our body, for instance, we feel as if we're paying attention to our body, but really all we're doing is we're sort of paying attention to our mind. And our mind is racing. And so we're not necessarily paying attention to our thoughts, but have you ever had the sensation of a racing mind in the body? Like you're paying attention to your mind, it just feels like there's like ants crawling in your mind or something like that. Like, right? Every minute, every day. There you go. So that's sort of like, it's not like I'm paying attention to my thoughts, but when I come into my body, I'm so in my head that it's like I feel like my head is like one of those like vibrating dynamite bombs that's about to explode, or it's like all I feel is like, it's like a million marching ants inside my head, and that's the sensation I get. And so what do you want to do with those marching ants? You want to shoot them all, right? Get every single ant. And then as you try to calm the ants down, then what happens? They actually disperse everywhere. And so even if you're doing a body scan, your attention may actually go directly to the place in your body that might seem less resourcing. Like, okay, I'm going to pay attention to my body, and all of a sudden you just pay attention to your head and it feels like your head's about to explode. Because there's so much going on, and it's so much mental activity that you might actually be able to sense the mental activity like a million marching ants. Okay. And so even in that, or you go to your pain or discomfort or area of discomfort. Okay. And so this is why this is a good, I think this is a good practice. I've done it for many, many years. This is the practice that I've done consciously and unconsciously. Every night before I go to bed, I do a body scan. And I don't even know how long it takes, because it's not like I'm like counting the seconds or the minutes, because it becomes, when you do it, it just becomes a very organic process. It just becomes very natural. It's not anything that like you feel like you're doing. It's sort of like, oh, let me just check in with my body, right? Like, what am I feeling now in my body? And that's it. That's really body scan. And you can start from your toes or you can start from your head and you just kind of go down. And some people integrate a bit of some muscular activity. Sometimes I've found that if people tense muscles, especially if you have chronic pain, if you tense muscles, that it's more difficult to release them. And so you might actually spark muscle tension by activating muscle tension. The thought behind this is that if you consciously tense your muscles and then consciously relax them, that the mind also follows. The mind also follows. So you're consciously tensing, relaxing, and what you're doing is in that conscious relaxing, you're letting go. It's sort of like you're getting to the point of more relaxation than where you were before the tensing. That's something that you can do if you want to add it. If you do have a body scan practice, and that's something that you do, please integrate that into your. I'm not going to guide that. My Tai Chi unit does moves that do that. Yes. So eat movement, right? Like Tai Chi and Qigong, activation of body postures and then relaxation of those body postures, activation of body postures, relaxation of body postures. And you're really allowing the mind to follow. If you find this is kind of like a mind trick, is what I've found. Many people have found this as well. Because in our Western world, we're so in our, we're so in our heads and brains and minds, it's sort of like we're above the neck. Very rarely do you find people who are like heart centric. We don't really reward heart centricity. Intellect, academics, things like that is really what we reward. And so it's almost like as a culture, we have trained people to be heady. And so it may be difficult for us to feel sensations below the neck that are not painful, that are simply sensations like your foot. Well, what's interesting with the human body is that there is a sense of when we pay attention to something. Let's say we're having some pain in our shoulders, okay, or we are having we're recognizing that we have a lot of thoughts in our head, or we feel lightheaded or spacey, things like that. It can actually help very, 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 very much to do a body scan and to start consciously with an area of the body that is lower than the body part that is causing some discomfort or pain or uncertainty, craziness, whatever it might be. A million ants marching in your head. And what happens is that when we bring our attention to something lower, it's almost as if with our attention we are able to slow down the energy patterns that are present. We're slowing them down a bit. So, for instance, if you're feeling heady, like you have a lot of thoughts, you can pay attention to your waist or your thighs or your sit bones as they're contacting the chair, or your feet on the ground. If If you're feeling a lot of discomfort in your pelvis or low back, you bring your attention to something that's lower than your low back, like your feet. And so that's one of the reasons why I start my body scans usually at my feet. And my feet help ground me to this earth. So it's sort of like if I am very much in the mental world, I'm not very much in the physical world. And so I start my body scans at the feet. Now, if you feel like you're like, wow, I'm so much in my physical world that I'm so grounded that I'd like to get up to into my mind sometimes, then maybe you actually start with your mind. Actually start with your head. Okay, do a body scan. So you can scan from top to bottom. You can scan from bottom to top, and you'll try it. Try different ways. If you go onto YouTube, there's like a million different body scan and like body cleansing meditations, right? Try to find one that works for you. I've sort of used the simplest one that works for me is the exact it's sort of like the exact same that I do for my thoughts and that I do for my sensations and that I do for emotions, which essentially, what is it that I am noticing in this moment, or that I am aware of in this moment, in this body part, and can I be with it just as it is? How is this body part for me right now? Okay. And that's it. And just allow it to inform me. Oh. Yeah. And when you ask that question of that body part, you may notice that you might actually feel a little bit of energy in there, something like a little movement, like a little twinge, a little vibration, maybe an opening, maybe a constriction. Whatever you notice, though, simply notice that. Okay. Now, if that leads you to want to make a certain movement with that body part, please do so. It's sort of like an expression of energy that is coming through in that moment, simply by you directing your attention to that area. So like, oh, I wonder how my big toe is right now on my right foot. And you just pay attention to that and you see what happens. That's it. We're not asking our body to do anything. All right, so that's an important part of this sort of mindfulness scan. I'm not asking it to be stronger or go faster or be in any state. All I'm just doing is checking in as a sensation that I am noticing in the present moment, and that's why it can be such a great mindfulness practice, because we're redirecting our attention from our mind to the sensations, to our body, and the sensations that are arising, similar to other sensations, are present moment. And so we're directing our attention to the present moment, and we're not asking our body to change in any way. Now, the energy that arises may, in that moment, feel as if, let's say you're paying attention to your shoulder or your wrist or your hand, you just might start making movements with your hands. Okay? Has anyone ever been in like a deep meditation and all of a sudden it's like they feel an energy that arises and it just makes them want to expand, and just it's sort of like the energy comes in and they just sort of are watching their arms spread out like a bird flying or something like that, or vice versa. An energy comes in, you feel like constricting and sort of coming in and almost like you're coiling up. If that happens, go with it. See what happens during the meditation, during your body scan. You might notice that you might, sort of flick some body parts, like you might flick your wrist or your hand or your feet or your thigh, or you might notice that your leg wants to start sort of shaking back and forth, like, and then from your leg your whole body gets into it, and now you're like a you know, like a piece of jello as you're relaxing. All right. Now, I do recommend a particular postures being as comfortable as possible. It is more difficult for me to do a body scan when I'm sitting, but I have done it. I do it nightly when I go to bed. So I'm lying down, and I really pretend like you know, I'm. It's like my attention is making a Xerox copy of me. and but my attention is that line, you know, that line that lights up when you're like doing a Xerox copy. It's like, and I start from my feet and I go all the way up, and as it stops, as my attention goes, oh, my right hip, there's a sensation there of some tightness in my right hip. Okay, and how is that? All right. Now, in our pain lecture series that has been recorded and is on our YouTube channel, Synovation Medical Group YouTube channel, where we have recordings for the 4 basic sessions for Introduction to Mindfulness, and also 3 sessions on mindfulness for chronic pain. We do a bit of what's called titration. We're not going to do that here, but if you listen to those, you can integrate the practice of titration with, let's say you're doing a body scan, and every time you do the body scan, it's like your attention goes to your right hip, which is painful. Your right hip. It's like, oh man, going to my right hip, going to my right. That's then where you can integrate those practices that we've done in the past of titration, of going into the pain, describing it as a sensation, localizing it in the body, drawing a border around it, seeing where on that border you feel comfort, go to that border of comfort, and go from comfort to discomfort, comfort to discomfort, comfort to discomfort, and see how that, if it changes in any way. So we're not going to do that, but if pain is an issue, those are some of the practices that I would integrate into the body scan, of like, oh, I'm scanning my body, oh, there's a bit of pain in my knee, and then you can really kind of go into it as a sensation. What does it feel like? How is it located? How did you know it was your knee? Where in space the knee is quite large? Is it on the inside, outside of your knee? Is it deep? Is it superficial? What does it feel like? Is it burning, sharp, stabbing? Where is the boundary of the pain or discomfort? And just being curious about it as a sensation, and not wanting it to leave, not wanting it to change in any way. But as you pay attention to it, notice if it does change or not. Okay. So we're going to start our practice. It's going to be a little longer today. I do recommend you get as comfortable as possible. If you fall asleep, that's perfectly fine. I probably fall asleep to this about 50% of the time. I'm doing a body scan and I fall asleep to it. If there's a part that, you know, it's just like, look, I can't tolerate this anymore, move, right? Get up and move, or change position, or put a pillow under that body part and see how that changes for you. If it's very, it is important to be as comfortable as possible. So finding a position that is comforting is important. And if you don't want to do a body scan, then it's this: do your simple mindfulness practice, which is bringing your attention to your resource or anchor. And as your mind wanders, come back to your anchor with no judgment and kindness and compassion for yourself. Good. Okay, so let's find a comfortable posture. Posture you will feel relaxed yet alert. Closing your eyes if you feel comfortable closing your eyes. If not, having a soft downward gaze. And taking 2 or 3 deep breaths. And with each in-breath, bringing in the present moment. And with each exhale, releasing any stress or tension that you feel like you can release. And then breathing regularly, naturally, whatever works for you. And starting by bringing your attention to your anchor, your resource, a place that you can direct your attention to that is most comforting, that is safer. A place you can go back to over and over again. And as your mind wanders, which is exactly what the mind does, coming back to your anchor. And as you're bringing your attention to your anchor over and over and over again, trying to find a comfortable position, being fully supported by your chair or the floor, the ground, your bed, the couch, wherever you are. Allowing your body to feel heavier, as if any part of your body that you're holding, you can gently release, relax into your chair, into the armrest, into the floor. And feeling into your body, lying or sitting here right now. Feeling into the areas of contact in this moment, where the feet are touching the ground, or the legs, your back, the arms, your head is making contact with any surface it's on. Maybe also noticing your breath entering and leaving your body, the movement of your chest or belly, the sensation of the air as it passes through your nose or mouth. The intention of the body scan is to be present with our body without wanting anything at all. The goal is to be checking in with each area of the body in a non-judgmental way. We simply feel what is there to feel in the present moment. If you have the desire to move or wiggle your body, feel free to do so. If you don't feel anything, that's perfectly okay too. Simply notice what is there, if anything, as a sensation. Maybe there's an emptiness of sensation, and notice that. And now, starting our body scan, starting with the feet, feeling into both feet right now. Feeling into the areas where your feet are touching the ground. Feeling your toes. What do you notice as you pay attention to your feet? Do you notice any sensations? Warmth or cold? Tingling, vibrating, numbness, or nothing at all? Whatever is present right now, simply noticing it. Now moving the attention to your ankles and lower legs. What is here to feel, if anything at all? Do you notice any pressure on your calves? Is there any fabric making contact with your skin? Without needing to change anything, just simply noticing. And just as the mind does, even in a body scan, as it wanders and you notice that your attention is suddenly somewhere else, gently, kindly, without judgment, returning it to your legs. This is exactly what the mind does, exactly what the mind likes to do. It's not a problem at all. Simply redirecting it back to your legs. If you find it helpful with any body part, you can imagine that you are breathing into your lower legs, as if your attention could drive your breath to that body part. Or as if your attention could light up the area like a flashlight. What is present for you right now? Now moving your attention to your knees and thighs. What is here to feel? Do you feel pressure, temperature, position of your legs, or nothing at all? Noticing also that thinking about an area or picturing it in your mind's eye is different from actually feeling it. For this practice, we want to see if we can feel it. Come out of our mind, come out of the thinking and picturing. What do our thighs and knees feel like? And now letting go our thighs and knees and moving our attention to the pelvis and the belly, up to the belly button. Noticing any sensation in this area. Maybe feeling the breath in the lower belly as a belly breath, or not. Whatever is present for you right now. And then letting go of your belly and moving into your chest. Feeling the sensations of your chest. Maybe feeling your heartbeat, your breath with each inhalation and exhalation. What do you notice? What is present for you right now? And now leaving the chest and going to your back, your spine, either lying on the floor or up against your chair. Noticing any sensations that are here, or simply the absence of sensation. What do you notice as a sensation? Trying not to interpret any unpleasant or pleasant sensations, just simply noticing them as sensations. For this practice, not wanting to change any sensation as it is, just paying attention. If you do have an urge or desire to move, notice the urge and desire, and then go ahead and make the movement. And notice what happens. And from your spine, moving your attention to your hands, feeling your hands just where they are. Noticing how you can feel your hands in space without even looking at them. Do you notice in your hands? You may notice pressure, temperature, the position of your fingers, the contact your hands are making with the surface they are on. Feeling each individual finger with both hands. The thumb, the index finger, the third finger, the fourth finger, and the fifth finger. Individually as fingers, collectively with your palm as your hands. And then leaving your hands and moving the attention to your wrists and forearms. What do you notice here? Do you notice touch, pressure, or warmth? Without needing to change anything, just noticing. And now moving your attention to your elbows and upper arms. Into your shoulders, the back of your neck. Noticing any sensations that are present for you. as you're scanning your arms and neck, shoulders. And if your mind wanders off, kindly and gently bringing it back. Every moment is a new moment to start again. Every moment is a new moment to remind yourself to be mindful. From your head, feeling into your jaw, your tongue, your face. What does your face feel like? Your nose, your nostrils, your mouth, your cheeks, your eyes, your forehead, your entire face. And now opening our awareness to include the entire body, lying or sitting here right now, being alive, breathing in and out. If you would like, imagining breathing all the way from the top of your head down into your toes and up and out again. Breathing in as the breath comes in through your head, goes all the way through your body down to your toes, and breathing out, exhaling all that air from your toes up through your body and out your head. Noticing all the sensations of the body as they are right now, and allowing them to be just as they are. And now, from the sensations of your entire body, taking 2 or 3 deep breaths. And allowing some movement back into the body, wiggling your toes, your fingers, stretching the body in any way that might feel good. And when you are ready, opening your eyes if your eyes were closed, and just reflecting on your practice and notice how you feel right now.